little bit. So I hope you guys are doing amazing today on this Sunday, day 6 of Vlogmas, which is kind of awesome. So this is 6 days in a row of 31 days of going live. And if you're around, I would love to hear from you. I see somebody's coming on. I know there's some lag time, so I'm going to give us just a minute or two to get in here, which I don't usually do. But this has been the week of me using a new program called Restream, so I can go live multiple places at the same time. Okay, so in case you didn't know, I'm Kathy Hester, and welcome to my kitchen. Today, what we're going to make is we're going to make a base thing that we're going to make into a lot of things. So I'm calling it a Peppermint Mocha Frappacinno today. But it's also, once you have the knowledge of the Peppermint Mocha Frappacinno, you can make any kind of Frappacinno you want. You can use different kinds of milks. Obviously, this is dairy-free and vegan. And you can also make ice creamless milkshakes, which is something I do a lot. Hi, Julie. It's awesome to see you. And Cheryl. So again, I see that people are upping. So what we're making today is I'm showing you how to make a dairy-free vegan Frappacinno. We're doing a peppermint mocha flavor today, so we'll talk a few things about that. We will also talk about basically what's the base of making this DIY at home Frappacinno, which is kind of a game changer if you haven't made them before. So you could start with pre-made milk. I'm going to start with some rolled oats. So I'm going to put, let's see, what do we got here? Half a cup. About a half a cup of rolled oats in here. And I'm not going to strain this because since I'm using ice, I don't really notice the seriously tiny particles from the oats. You could use cashews to do this. You could use pre-made almond milk. I know Helene is going to ask about that. But what I'm doing first is just making this milk. I like making it with rolled oats because it's cheaper than any other kind of milk you can do. So you don't have to make this a coffee Frappacinno. So wherever I'm putting in cold brew concentrate, you can put in water instead. And why water? If we've got the oats in here, it's just oats and water that make the milk. So, oh, and I still didn't put in the link for you guys to click if you're on a group in Facebook. So hi, Facebook user, who I probably know, and I'm sorry I'm not saying your name. And hi, Diane, you've stuck in. You've really stuck in with the lives. I appreciate that. I know yesterday there was all kinds of audio extravaganzas. So I'm going to put probably about a cup of the concentrate. Again, my concentrate, and maybe we'll put a little bit more, maybe a cup and a half, is a little bit less. So it's not as concentrated as the concentrate you buy in the store. I also prefer my coffee to be kind of light. So I like it where it's not dark. It's not quite white, but it's really, really close. You know, like if you've ever seen those charts, like which coffee do you like? I'm like way over on the side. Now, we could sweeten this a multitude of different ways. We could use dates and just go ahead and puree the dates in here so you could have it date sweetened easily. You could use date syrup. You could use maple syrup, which is what I'm going to do today. Or you could even use, and I don't know if you can see this that well, yeah, the Santa Cruz mint chocolate flavored syrup is vegan. So it's got sugar, cocoa, mint flavor, vanilla, salt, and xanthan gum. So that's all that's in here. So you could avoid some of this extra stuff and just get this syrup. So wherever you're watching this, somewhere around, I've got links to some of these things in case you need to find them. So we've got in here now about 1.5 cups of coffee concentrate. We've got about a half a cup of rolled oats. I'm going to put in probably 2 to 3 tablespoons of maple syrup. We can taste this again. So, and that sweetener level should be the sweetener level you want, not just what I want. So if you're not sure, you could put in just like a tablespoon or a teaspoon, taste it and see how it goes. So first, we're not putting in our xanthan gum. We'll talk about that a little bit more. So I'm going to blend this and make it into milk. I may add some extra water. We'll see. another reason I like oats is it's fast and cheap. So I'm just going to scrape some of these parts here have some bigger pieces of oats. It already smells pretty yummy. And so basically with the coffee concentrate, I'm making coffee milk right here as it is. And I'm going to scrape a little bit of this down. But like I said, with the ice that we're going to use in a little bit to make this a cold Frappuccino, I find with the ice in there, you don't really feel any of these tiny little particles. And so I always like to give it a second go. Okay, so I'm going to call it there. I'll let you guys see it from overhead. And hopefully I won't block the whole view. I'm going to scrape from the lid again, because I find that's where most of the stuff gets caught. So we've got probably about 1.5 cups, maybe almost 2 cups of liquid. So what I'm going to do first, we'll get a couple spoons out, is I'm going to taste this. So I'm tasting for sweetness level, then I'm going to add in my flavorings. And what I want is I want it to be sweeter when I taste it now than when I'm drinking it, because it's a concentrate now, so I need more, especially with that much coffee for me personally. But your mileage may differ there. I'm also going to put in a little bit of peppermint extract, and I'm probably just going to put in a few drops. Let's see if you can see it from here. This peppermint extract is pretty strong. So I put in about 5 drops, and we'll see if I need more of that. And then I'm going to also put in a big heaping tablespoon. It's probably going to be closer to 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. Actually, let's go a little bit heavier. Let's do 3. Let's have a dark chocolate mocha. Okay. So then, and those, I've seen more people are joining in. So what you're watching is you're watching me make a chocolate, a peppermint mocha frappuccino from scratch. So we started off with about 1.5 cups of coffee concentrate that I cold brewed. You might need to use less if you use a commercially already brewed coffee concentrate, because it's a little stronger. We used 1/2 cup of oats and about 1.5 cups of water. What we've just added is a few drops of peppermint syrup, a little bit more maple syrup, and some cocoa powder. We're going to mix that in. And here's the thing, you could actually not use coffee at all and use water instead, because we're making oat milk, or you could use the dairy milk of your choice and then just add the coffee concentrate or not. So you can make this a cream frappuccino or not. Actually, you need to see this, because the chocolate's making it look kind of luscious. You guys see how that's a nice dark chocolate, huh? So I'm going to taste that again. So I'm just going to get this. And since this is basically, at this point, we're making kind of a creamer or a concentrate, you could totally use this as a creamer for coffee. Oh, that's good. I'm trying to decide. I think I'd like a couple more drops of peppermint. And so I'm just going to put a couple more drops. So we probably are at 1/4 teaspoon about now. And I'm going to go ahead and say that's probably good. Now the next thing we're going to use is xanthan gum. You can, actually, where did I put that? I think I put it back in here. Yeah. You could use, if you're anti-xanthan gum, and xanthan gum is vegan and gluten-free, and I gave you a blend, I'll let you, in the descriptions. So it's just a little powder, and literally you use like 1/8 of a teaspoon for this. So I've had this for 5-6 years. And so it costs about $8 or $9 to get a package of it, but it lasts for so very long. You could also use ground chia seeds, and I want to show you this for sure. So, I'm so sorry. Let's see. So that kind of does it. But notice this is more ground than the ground chia seeds you buy already ground. So I take regular chia seeds or even already ground chia seeds. I put them in the spice grinder or the coffee grinder and grind them until they're really fine. Because I think without that you really get you get more mouthfeel than I'm happy with. Also with chia seeds, if you have to go real high, it's going to affect the flavor a little bit. So just know that. You could also use some pectin if you have that. So why do we have to have xanthan gum or pectin or ground chia seeds? Can't we just have our life normal? Not if you want a Frappacinno like you get from Starbucks. So if you've ever made a margarita, a frozen margarita, you may notice that you don't need any addition for it to kind of hold together, right? That's the alcohol. The alcohol kind of works and does that for you. So when we're doing something like this that is non-alcoholic, that's a frozen drink, it separates into ice and water, and we need something to bring it together. And so that's what we're going to do with the xanthan gum. And xanthan gum is probably in a lot of food that you eat. So some people may have some stomach allergies or IBS or something like that. And if that's the case, definitely try the chia seeds instead, okay? So I'm going to just take this, because it will clump up. So I'm going to sprinkle it lightly around in my little OCD way. And then I'm going to start it on low with the lid on, like a grown-up. Okay. And I started on low so it just doesn't fling it over to the side. Then we're going to let it go. It's helping it incorporate, and it's actually going to make this thick. So if any kind of thickener in other milks that you find store-bought, it's going to be similar. Let's see if you can, I don't know if you can tell the difference, but see how that's a little bit thicker? It's not running off quite the same way. And at this point, and it would be really good if you're making this to kind of do this little by little, you can feel that the liquid is thicker. It's not thick like gross thick, but it's just kind of yummy. And we could probably even go a little bit more for this, I think. Usually I feel it a little bit more than this before I put the ice in, so I'm going to add like another 1/16. And I'm going to put that in there. If you're using chia seeds, you're going to need to use significantly more, and I would start with a teaspoon and then go from there. I think it's the same thing with pectin, so use a lot less of the xanthan gum. Ruth says yum. Okay, so I've just got that in there a little bit. I'm going to go, and I can let you guys see this too. Look how dark, chocolatey, glistening. If you don't want yours this chocolate, or if you just wanted just peppermint and no chocolate, you could do that. If you wanted chocolate and no peppermint. If you wanted to make it with our gingerbread syrup, instead of using maple syrup or any of these other things, you could do that. So you could do a cinnamon dolce with the syrup we made earlier or the gingerbread syrup. Now I'm going to go to my fridge and get some crushed ice. You can use regular ice cubes with a caveat. It's going to be harder on your blender. Even if it's a Vitamix or something like that, it's still nicer if you can get the crushed ice to use it. If you don't have crushed ice, fine. I would try and get some smaller ice cube trays, so they're little bitty ice cubes, and that would also help save a less powerful blender. So let's go do that, and I'll show you, I think I showed you the other day how to do this, but it's exciting. So this is how I kind of judge what ice instead of measuring it. There's always one ice cube that goes on the floor. So then I take it and I kind of just go back to back. If it covers up too much, then for me it may not be enough. And if you go too far, you can add more water. So I'm going to get just a wee bit more ice. Okay, so again, I'm just going to kind of shake it back and forth. And to me, because I like mine really, really thick. So again, you can use the same method for an ice creamless shake. You can make different kinds of Frappuccinos. So this is the base recipe that gets you kind of everything. Okay. And I think you're going to actually see it better this way. And I'm going to start low and then just go up little by little by little. So as the pieces break up a little bit more, we'll go up to another level. And you can see it breaking up. So you want to blend till you don't see those little big ice crystals anymore. But if you blend too long, it'll actually start melting it in something like a Vitamix. And see, that's still not, that's really close. That tastes really good. I did steal a taste. So this is still a little thin for me. I think this is, I'll show you overhead again. This might help. So see, it's pretty frozen. So it's like this. But I would like it just a hair thicker. And it's always like rolling the okay. So I put in about this much more ice. Okay. Let me see, I heard a, I'm gonna go just a little bit more blended, and let me show you why I'm choosing that. Because you can see they're kind of shiny, so I would like a couple of those pieces to be ever so much smaller. And actually there's a little bit of ice here. I'm gonna go ahead and scrape that down. I'm so persnickety now that it's hard for me to get Frappuccinos at Starbucks. That should be good. Okay. And see, this is a little more thick. Can you guys see how that went a little bit different? And I'll let you see from the front too. So if I'm dripping it this way, now it's a thicker, more like a milkshake. Oh, it's really good. So there's still, it's not super strong, hit you in the face peppermint, but you feel it about here. I added enough chocolate for it to be a little bit extra dark. And so it just has a more grounded base to it. And it kind of is like the coffee, and the chocolate takes off the bitterness of the coffee. And then the peppermint brings in this light, chilly, wintry note, which is really cool. And so mine, I sweetened with maple syrup. You could just as easily have made this with dates. If you have a powerful blender like a Vitamix or a Blendtec, you can get away with not soaking your dates. But it always is easier on the machine if you do. So if you keep some soaked dates around, because that's your sweetener of choice. But you could have used any kind of syrup. You could have used agave nectar. There's monk fruit syrups, there's stevia syrups or stevia drops. I think I would definitely lean towards using a liquid sweetener over like sugar or brown sugar or something, but like we made that cinnamon dolce syrup with brown sugar. So if this is something you like and you want to use regular vegan sugar, you can just make a simple syrup by doing 1-to-1 water to sugar. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just measure out a cup of sugar, I'll put on the kettle, and then I'll put in a cup of water and stir it. So it's really easy to make that if that's your preferred way to do it. Oh, great. And let's see what we say. Somebody offers to taste test. I wish you were here. This is going to be kind of our first. We're having a really lazy Sunday. So this is going to be this, and I'm thinking of maybe making some arepas for lunch because I'm kind of feeling it. And I found a lot of vegan cheese in our fridge. So it could be cheese arepas, vegan cheese arepas for us. Does anybody have any questions? The original recipe that this is based off of is actually in the Easy Vegan Cookbook, and it was a sweet potato spice frozen latte. And then I can't remember if it's here, which book it's in, but there's another book, and I have a salted caramel ice creamless milkshake. So those are kind of the origins of this recipe. And it just kind of keeps growing and changing. So you could use any syrups you want. You could kind of make this smoothie-esque. So like you could use sweet potato or pumpkin in this and make a sweet potato or pumpkin spice. You just might have to change the liquid a little bit, up it up. And again, you could do this with just milk instead of making your own oat milk, but that makes this ridiculously cheap. Instead of even using almonds, I mean, a half a cup of oats is way cheaper than a half a cup of almonds. Okay, great. So I would love to see pictures of what you guys do if you make some of these, because don't forget, I have a great supportive private community on Facebook called Vegan Recipes Cooking with Kathy Hester. Only it says it in like all bold. Cooking with Kathy Hester, not that little kind of thing that just happened. And if you just tell me you watched the Frappacinno video, I'll let you in without answering all the questions. And if you want to be on the mailing list, if you're going through there, you can enter in your email there, or you can go to healthyslowcooking.com where you can find more of these kinds of recipes, or plantbasedinstantpot.com. And plantbasedinstantpot.com is actually all Instant Pot recipes. Healthy Slow Cooking, not all slow cooking recipes because it's a 12-year-old blog. So it has air fryer recipes, blender recipes, all the recipes. So anyhow, I hope you guys enjoy your day and enjoy saving some money that you're not like spending at Starbucks today. And you can make your own holiday yumminess. Okay, be gentle with yourself and take a deep breath. Next week is going to be awesome. And I am also probably going to be on again today to do the atoli I said I was going to do.